Welcome to Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I'm your host, Jill Jardine, professional astrologer, psychic healer, hypnotherapist, and spiritual teacher. Today, we're talking about one of the most significant astrological shifts of 2026. Yeah, there's been a bunch of them, but what's coming next is another biggie. The lunar nodes moving into Aquarius and Leo. You're going to want to stay tuned to find out what this means. Welcome to the episode on the lunar nodes shifting into Aquarius and Leo. You're going to want to stay tuned till the end of the episode to find out what that means for your zodiac sign. Beginning July 26, 2026, you got that, 72626, and lasting until March 26, 2028, humanity enters an entirely new karmic chapter. The North Node, our collective evolutionary path, moves into visionary Aquarius, while the South Node, representing past karma, outdated patterns, and what we're ready to release, enters Leo. Unlike Mercury retrograde or a full moon, this isn't an event that comes and goes in a few weeks. This is approximately a 19-year evolutionary cycle that influences world events, our relationships, our careers, our spiritual growth, and the direction humanity itself is moving into in the coming years. What's especially fascinating is that Pluto is already traveling through the sign Aquarius. Pluto, the transformative agent of death and rebirth, transforms everything it touches, while the North Node points us towards our collective destiny. Together, they create one of the strongest signatures for social, technological, and spiritual evolution that we've seen in decades. And if you happen to be an Aquarius, hold on, you're in the blender, but in a good way. The new you will be coming out on the other side. Such a time of evolution for all zodiac signs. And in this episode, we'll explore what the lunar nodes are, why this shift matters, how it will affect the collective consciousness, and what each zodiac sign can expect over the next 19 months. So, interestingly enough, the lunar nodes take about 18.9 months to go through a sign, but they come every 18 and a half years. They change signs. So very interesting that 18 to 19-year cycle plays out. The collective evolution every 18 and a half years. The lunar nodes change signs and come back to where they were every 18 and a half years. And this redirects the evolutionary curriculum for humanity. For the past cycle that's ending on July 26, we had the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo. So we've been learning lessons about healing, discernment, surrender, compassion, spirituality, and releasing perfectionism or judgment. Virgo South Node. Now, the cosmic classroom changes entirely. Aquarius asks us to stop asking, how do I stand out? Instead, it asks, how can I contribute? This is one of the most profound shifts in consciousness because humanity is moving from an era focused on individual recognition, ego, celebrity, power brokers, to one centered on collaboration. Yes, together we win. Divided we fall, and the group is more powerful than the individual, especially a like-minded group. The South Node in Leo doesn't mean creativity disappears. It doesn't mean confidence disappears or leadership disappears. It just changes into a different model. Instead, we're releasing the distorted expressions of Leo, performing instead of living authentically, seeking applause instead of purpose. Also, we're releasing building an identity around status. I love this one. Measuring your worth through likes, followers, subscribers, fame, or external approval. Yes, the age of the influencer is changing. The influencer better be helping other people and not just building their own status, or they will dissolve. Believing one charismatic individual has all the answers, that is going down the toilet. Instead, it's those people who motivate and lead groups to be better than they were and to help the collective. Aquarius reminds us that true evolution happens through shared wisdom and through community and through innovation and the whole power of collaboration and diversity of thoughts. We are now in an age of networks rather than hierarchies. It's going to be a wild ride as we see the fall of power elites and leaders who are not invested in the good for the whole. And then throw powerful Pluto into the mix, and it makes it historic. That's what makes this nodal shift extraordinary, as that Pluto is already in Aquarius. And as you know from previous podcasts, Pluto represents death, rebirth, transformation, power, and collective evolution. The North Node points towards humanity's future. When these energies occupy the same sign, destiny accelerates. We may witness dramatic advances in AI, space exploration, quantum technologies, medicine, renewable energy, and communication. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Jill Jardine 2186 to see my videos that I'm making about all these shifts here in 2026 and beyond, and to get more insights into easily digestible sound and video bites. Well, the North Node is in Aquarius and so is Pluto. But Aquarius isn't just about technology. It's about consciousness, says this Aquarian. We're learning how to cooperate with one another in ways that transcend race, religion, nationality, politics, and geography. Communities may increasingly form around shared values instead of physical location. It's going to be exciting. We're going to have our best friend down there in Argentina and also down in Romania, and we're living in the U.S. So get ready and be open to connect with like-minded people around the globe. Soul tribes become more important than traditional social structures. Many people may feel called to leave their environments where they no longer fit in order to find communities that truly resonate with who they're becoming. So if you get the urge to move to Peru, follow that through. If you feel there's another country or community calling you, check it out. Pluto in Aquarius and the North Node, we're being very unconventional. We're not fitting into those boxes anymore. We're becoming liberated and free. Free from the old patterning. If you do your work, of course. And the cool thing about it is we got a whole group that's doing the same thing. So we can be inspired by each other. Aquarius teaches a beautiful paradox. Individuality still matters, but individuality becomes valuable because of what it contributes to the whole. Because guess what? Each of us has our own soul signature and we can contribute it. And we also carry a frequency that on this planet at this time, we are in the time of frequency. So it's an opportunity to figure out, where's your frequency? What's your unique gift? What's your perspective? And that isn't meant to separate you. It's meant to find the others who vibe the same frequency. Just think about like an orchestra. It's all these different instruments that are playing their different sounds, the winds, the drums, the violins and strings, and there's some vocalists, but guess what? They make beautiful music together, and each instrument sounds completely different. Yet, they create something magnificent when they play together. So, we're finding the other instruments in our soul orchestra to play beautiful music together. That is the lesson of the North Node in Aquarius, that your uniqueness becomes your contribution and not your identity. And none of this ego, I'm better than you, or I've done this differently. It's looking at the similarities and how are we the same, because that is where the power is. Hi there, this is Jill Jardine, host of Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine, and I have some news for you. Some of you know that I have a book that's published called Sacred Sound Formulas to Awaken the Modern Mind, Sanskrit Mantras to Raise Your Vibration. Well, now I have the companion oracle cards for Sacred Sound Formulas to Raise Your Vibration. You're going to have a lot of fun with these. You pull a card, you get the mantra that will help you at whatever moment you pick the card, and so much more. So make sure you go online and order yours now, JillJardine.com. Now, we're going to look at the historical perspective. When was the last time the lunar nodes were in Aquarius, North Node, and Leo, South Node? And actually, I'm going to look at the last two times in our lifetime or current lifetime. And one of the reasons I love studying astrology is that it reveals patterns. While history doesn't repeat itself exactly, it often rhymes and has reason. Every time the lunar nodes return to the same signs, humanity revisits similar evolutionary themes, but on a higher spiral. So let's look at the last time the North Node was in Aquarius and the South Node was in Leo. Go back in the time machine and think about what was going on in your life from December 2007 through August 2009. And we can think about what was happening collectively. I'm going to go over that. And before that, the nodes traveled through the Aquarius North Node and Leo South Node from April 1989 through November 1990. So, as we enter this new cycle from July 26, 2026 through March 26, 2028, we can look back at those earlier periods for clues about the kinds of lessons and collective shifts that may emerge. So, going back in the time machine for the December 2007 through August 2009 cycle, it was a new era of global connectivity. The last Aquarius North Node cycle coincided with one of the most dramatic turning points of the 21st century. Think back. Well, notably, the global financial crisis of 2008 exposed weaknesses in the existing economic systems. Institutions that once appeared untouchable suddenly look vulnerable, prompting widespread conversations about reform, cooperation, and how societies support one another. At the same time, here we go. Technology started to reshape our daily life at an astonishing pace. That's right. Remember, the first iPhone was introduced in 2007, totally transforming into an exciting new device and beginning a completely new way of living and communicating. Did you have an iPhone back then? I didn't. Friends of mine did, and they were like all about it. And I was like, I don't need that. Now look at us all. We have our iPhones. And the smartphones came out, connecting people across the globe in ways that had never been before possible. And here we go. Social media, boom, experiences explosive growth. Facebook expanded beyond the college campuses and became mainstream. Twitter, which was later X, emerged as a powerful platform for sharing ideas in real time. So communities began to be formed online rather than solely through geography. And look at all the dating apps that came up during that time. Tinder, I believe, came up around that time, but it started a revolution in online connectivity. Classic Aquarian themes, networks, technology, collective communication, global communities. And then the South Node in Leo was creating some problems with the financial crisis, which challenged the idea that a handful of powerful individuals or institutions could control the destiny of millions. That didn't go down right.
No, I don't think so.
And then there was growing skepticism of authority, celebrity, and centralized power, while people increasingly turned toward peer to peer communication and grassroots collaboration. There was so much more skepticism about the man, the leaders, and the control over the collective, and things were being done to change that. 2007 through 2009, the previous North Node transiting Aquarius, South Node transiting Leo. Ponder on that for a moment before I go to the second most recent in the late 80s and early 90s. So going into the Wayback Machine from May 23rd, 1989 to November 18th, 1990, the other cycle that the North Node was in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. Walls come down. That's right. It brought another extraordinary turning point in world history, if you remember, if you were alive. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, becoming one of the most defining symbols of the end of the Cold War. Physical and ideological barriers that had divided people for decades suddenly dissolved. Across Eastern Europe, citizens organized movements that led to sweeping political change. Communities united to challenge long-standing systems, illustrating Aquarius' theme of collective action, freedom, and social reform. At the same time, another quiet revolution was beginning. In 1989, Tim Berners-Lee proposed what would become the World Wide Web. While few people realized its significance at the time, this innovation laid the foundation for the global digital network that now connects billions of people. Thank you again, Aquarius North Node, giving us that innovation, technology, information sharing, the group conquering the leaders. Remember all those people sitting on top of the walls. And it was a party in the streets when the Western and Eastern Germany were connected after all those years. And by the way, the music around that time was pretty freaking amazing too, in the late 80s and early 90s. Humanity was connected again across borders. And at the same time, the South Node in Leo showed the decline of highly centralized leadership models. People increasingly questioned authority figures and demanded systems that were more participatory and transparent. And it was bye-bye, Soviet Union. So Russia is going to experience something this time around because of the astrology and how it was affected in the late 80s and early 90s. Last time Aquarius came a-visiting. We're going to see so many changes in the leadership and the power elites in the world that it's going to blow our mind, because guess what? This cycle in 2026 to 2028 is even more powerful. And why is that? Because unlike the previous Aquarius, Leo, nodal cycles, we got Pluto in the house. That's right. We got powerful Pluto kicking some butt. Pluto is already in Aquarius, kicking the can down the street and gathering speed and steam, bringing profound transformation, power, death, rebirth, and the evolution of civilization itself. With the North Node also in Aquarius, here we go. They're going to party together for the next 2 years, aligning for humanity's evolutionary progression. Together, they amplify one another And so, what we're going to see going down between 2026 and 2028 might be even more shocking and profound than either of these previous cycles that pretty much rock the world. We may witness breakthroughs in AI, robotics, quantum computing, renewable energy, biotechnology, and space exploration. And perhaps, which I've been waiting for, since the late 80s, since the one that happened in 89 and 90, so 30 years now, perhaps we will experience a revolution in consciousness. And so let's bring it back home. Think for yourself with this energy and how to apply it to yourself. Ponder on this. Where am I seeking validation instead of purpose? In other words, ego, get into the back seat. What's your purpose? What's your dharma? How can you help everybody? How can I contribute my gifts to the community? How can I embrace innovation instead of resisting change? And we're all being asked to look toward the future and release the past, because we also are in a momentous shift in time and the time-space continuum and frequency. So the old stuff doesn't work anymore. The Earth grid is changing. So get with the program, because North Node in Aquarius, you're going to see some things that are going to blow your mind.
Aha.
And I talked a lot about that, the North Node. What's the South Node in Leo telling us to do? Well, number one, release the ego, reclaim the heart. And the South Node in Leo represents gifts we've already developed individually and collectively. How can you bring that gift forward? Where do we feel comfortable? And what about all that wisdom we accumulated over many lifetimes? How can we bring it into the future? With the South Node in Leo, humanity is being asked to examine our relationship with identity, recognition, creativity, leadership, and the ego. Leo is ruled by the sun, the center of our solar system. At its highest expression, Leo represents the radiant heart. It inspires courage, generosity, creativity, joy, romance, healthy confidence, and authentic self-expression. The world needs these qualities, and it's not asking us to abandon them. Instead, we have to transform them and move them from personal importance to collective significance. Now, we have to talk about the shadow of Leo, because we're going to see that showing up all over the place. Because with this new energy coming in, a lot of individuals don't know how to get from Leo to Aquarius. So we're going to see that there's a lot of healing that needs to happen, and looking collectively and personally, these patterns that need to be released during this time. And that is seeking applause or recognition instead of inner fulfillment. Defining our worth through recognition, titles, status, popularity, subscribes, likes, follows, and feeling disappointed when our efforts aren't acknowledged. That's a huge one. That is a pivot that needs to happen. When you're externally referred to feel good about yourself, this is going to be a tough time. And I'm talking about in your life in general, from others, and if you are on social media. And by the way, Aquarius is going to totally shift and change the rules of social media and how to get likes or become popular with downloads. That's all changing through algorithms, through what's important. And again, it always has, but it is coming into a whole new age itself. So what worked before on, like, let's say a TikTok or a Facebook is totally changing. A lot of that will have to do with the technologies like AI and algorithms constantly changing, not maybe as they have in the past every few months or year. Oh no, they'll be changing on a very rapid basis. And the other thing that people need to release, believing they're the expert or authority, have some humility. creating drama because excitement feels more familiar than peace. And also having an ego where your way is the only way, my way or the highway. Let that go.
Hey, good luck.
We're all being asked to live authentically. And as I rise, we all rise. So it's not about the individual, it's the group. Together we rise, divided we fall. Instead of seeking followers, build community. Instead of personal fame, find shared purpose. Instead of hierarchy, find circles of wisdom. And instead of charisma, find authentic contribution. Aquarius recognize that every unique gift strengthens the whole. So find your tribe and share the vibe. The essence of this nodal cycle is that leadership is changing. We may also witness a transformation in leadership itself. The old model often celebrated the charismatic individual, the hero, the celebrity, the wealthy, the person who people follow or the certain group pumps up. Not going forward. Aquarius reminds us that no one person carries all the wisdom. Leadership is going to be a collaborative. Spiritual teachers, healers, and thought leaders need to remember that they have to empower instead of seeking the limelight. Because as more people awaken, we all benefit. The collective lesson is that this nodal cycle asks that humanity to remember something profound. We are not separate. Every choice affects the collective field. Every act of kindness ripples outward. Every authentic expression contributes to humanity's evolution. This is the shift from ego consciousness to group consciousness without losing the uniqueness of the individual. Get ready. Aquarius rising in the North Node. And Leo, find your heart. Love what you do what you love. Stay tuned for how this nodal cycle impacts each zodiac sign. Stay tuned to part 2 on the shift of the nodes into Aquarius and Leo, where you find out how will your zodiac sign be impacted. This is Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine signing out, sending you Aquarian frequencies through the quantum field. Stop.